It's been an interesting week for me. I've been on the road like on the road, from one part of the country to the other part of the country. I started off last week by telling you that I was in Osun State for the election, and it's been interesting. Guess what? The citizens in Osun State did change the strategy on the politicians. You're about to find out how they did that. And yes, the update on what I think may happen next and the strategy and the lessons to be learned about this political moment of elections that may be different from what we've always and maybe have experienced over time. Stay with me. This is Femi D Live. Welcome to the show. I'm Femi D. Amele. Get started. Yes, in Osun State, over 1 million plots registered to vote. And these are numbers you see and you become excited. As if you're a politician, you become really excited. All the prospects of who would choose me over that other person and who would choose you over the next person and the reasons why they would choose you. And in Nigeria and across Africa, many times things like politics, like the tribe where you come from, the region you come from, the ethics that you practice, and the ethnicity of your mother, your father, everything comes into play. Your religion. What else am I missing out on? What some people may think are the minor issues that should deal with as regards how you're able to lead the people. Well, oftentimes in Nigeria and in Africa, they become the major issue. Like ethnicity, tribe, religion become the major issues or the major reasons why they choose a candidate over the other. Yes, that's like using minority to determine how majority would play out. But that's not the drama behind this. So let me get into this. I'm going to put up the case study of what happened in Osun State. I spent about 7 days there last week, just examining the political landscape of the land, not just for the politicians only, but for the citizens. I did speak to women who sell yam, women who sell yam, women who sell vegetable, tomatoes, and all kinds. And they had different ideas as regards what they think about the politicians that are putting themselves up or offering to serve them. And they also had some other interesting ideas regarding what that would be. Now, the election did go on eventually just this last Saturday in Osun State. And yes, I tell you, with 353 votes marking the difference between the first and the second. Or let me say, yes, I say first and second, no winner and first runners up, because the electoral law in Nigeria really places emphasis on the difference of numbers, difference of numbers. It also places strong emphasis on the number of elections, or should I say, the number of votes or ballots that were rejected. It all plays down into some interesting electoral mathematical law that makes the difference in Nigeria. So that's the background to it. So we had two candidates who did come in like very close to the top. One had over 200,000 votes, the second one had 200,000 votes. Now the difference between these two candidates was 353 votes. Now, INEC said this number was not good enough to determine who was truly the winner of the election, considering the fact that over 3,000 votes and ballots were rejected across different places. That's besides the issue of ballots that supposedly were stolen, polling unit results that appeared to have been doctored or to be wrongly calculated, and all kinds of all the other minor so-called drama that you find in elections. Yes, it was all there, no doubt about it. But what was most exciting for me was I didn't really see people interested in buying votes. Oh, wait, people not interested in selling votes. Yes, that really didn't happen. But then the electoral law in Nigeria is so exciting. It talks about during an election. And guess what? So maybe the politicians were a little bit strategic. They went for before and after the election. That's like really part, like before, after. I left out the during. Now, the exciting thing about doing that was the fact that as they did leave out the during, it provided this measure of excitement for the voters, the electorate, to say, okay, well, there's no way to prove I would vote for you, or there's no way to prove I didn't vote for you. But then some of them still were able to get some cash. They did get some money off that. But let's get into this. So, with the two candidates so close, the electoral body in Nigeria, INEC, said the result was inconclusive. and then had to wait out and said, we need the results from these 7 polling areas, seven polling units to determine who would win this election, the governorship election in Osun State in Nigeria. Okay, so we have that going on. So how do we live by that 7 polling units are going to determine the result? Now, here's the thing. So there was first, there was second. But guess what again? There was another candidate who possibly came in third position, inconclusive election. And this is the guy that kind of left them, let me put it this way. He left Party A to go and join Party C because he was not the candidate of Party A. So let's just describe it this way. He became the spoiler of the election. He became the guy that had his own followers vote as much as 100,000. Remember the first and second had about 200,000 each, yeah? 200,000. And then the guy who comes in third place comes in with 100,000 plus number of votes. So he goes in as the candidate that is like the spoiler. Now, in the rerun of the election that is about to take place, what INEC says is, in the 7 polling units that we've marked out that there needs to be a rerun of election, this candidate C, who came in possibly third with his members, is the guy. 2 of those areas have the places he politically controls. In other words, if it says my voters should vote for candidate A, and they're all going to vote for candidate A, that's good for him. And if it says they should vote for candidate B, that's pretty good for the guy as well. To bring it all together, in the last few days, candidate A and candidate B have been speaking to candidate C through all their political entourage to say, my guy, just give me the guys who are on your side. Just let the electorates that you control, the followers who are passionate and love you. But for us, when Thursday comes around, that's just like tomorrow. Because the rerun was postponed for 5 days after the main election. So those 5 days are almost up. And what you would find is candidate C tells candidate A, all right, no, if you can meet up with some of the things I require, it's not a problem. I would put it into consideration. And then Party B comes around. The candidate of Party B comes around and said, well, stand around. Let's take a good photograph. I think you've made a good proposal. I will speak to my people and see if they agree with you. So he gives his word to candidate A, and at the same time gives his word to candidate B regarding the election. He's pretty much convinced that with the number of electorates he gives to support maybe A or B, whatever the case, it's good enough to make the difference. So this is the guy that breaks the ice or provides some solution to the electoral impasse between these 2 candidates, if I may. But should elections really come down to the blessing of a politician over certain type of citizens to determine who leads an election? Should Party C candidate have to give his blessings to the electorate within his ward, within his area, within his locality, and tell them, I've coughed, vote for Party A. I've coughed twice, vote for Party B. So in the rerun of an election, it's interesting to see how in Nigeria and in Africa at large, we view the politics of the citizens. And by the way, the citizens often tell you, we have our mind made up. But then it looks like a very soft mind. Because just with the molding of hands of a politician, it can move thousands and thousands of people who have voting power to vote differently. Will African citizens, for a moment, once in their lifetime, or once in our lifetime, or at some point in our lifetime, find the need to be driven around the issues, the policies, and the ideas, guys, the ideas that you believe in? Or would it always be subjected to the blessings and the features and the joy and the sadness, if I may, of a politician to get people to move towards something different? Let me know what you think. Are Africans finally taking charge of their own votes? Or is it all left going to be in the circle of waiting for a politician's blessings to determine who you vote for? Thanks for listening in to this edition of this very video podcast. Hey, catch up with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all of them at Femidi Live. You would find them there for you at Femidi Live. Yeah, that's on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter. Please remember to click on the like button. It's the guy that has the thumb like this. Come click on it, and at the same time, also leave your comments and also subscribe to the channel. We're finally getting the message there. We're understanding how citizens do vote or make their choices, and it's important that we educate them as regards the consequences of their choices. Join me. Let me know what you think. Write, make a comment known, and at the same time, share what you do have. Nigerians, Africans, we need to make our choices with consequences behind our mind. I'm Femidi.